All right, well, we will go ahead and get started. I'm Matt Craven. I'm the Director of Outreach here at the College of Health and Human Performance. It looks like there's just two of you here with us tonight, right now, at least. So feel free to, drop your name in the chat, kind of what degree you're interested in, or if you're just kind of exploring options as well. But tonight I also have Miss Tiana Hayes with us. She is a child life student who is a senior and she's an HHP ambassador. So she'll be willing to talk to you about her degree as well as just family, or excuse me, not family, student life, or just class and ECU life in general. We also have Miss Berry present with us, and she is the program coordinator for the birth through kindergarten education program, and is going to be talking to us tonight about HDFS. So Miss Berry, do you want to get started?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I'm so happy you were able to pop in. I will go over briefly what the department offers, but I'm more than happy to answer questions about any specific program. I believe Ms. Harris will be, our advisor will also be up here. I know she was having to join. She's running children, so she might have to pop in a little bit later. So anyway, so I'm happy to talk about our program. So like Ms. Craven said, I'm Susanna Berry. I'm the program coordinator for the Birth Through Kindergarten program. And I'm also the distance education coordinator for the online component of that program. So I'm the advisor for that. Okay, so in HDF, there's Ms. Harris right there. So in HDFS, we have 4 majors and a minor. So even if you're sort of interested in child development, family science, and things like that, but you may be considering other majors, we also have the minor that is a nice complement to a lot of different degrees. So our majors are the birth through kindergarten teacher education, which does result in North Carolina licensure. Our child life program, which prepares you to sit for the certified child life specialist certification exam. We have family and consumer science teacher education, which licenses you to teach FACS courses in middle and high school. And we have our family and community services program, which offers 2 concentrations, one in child development and one in family science. So if you're more interested in working with children, or if you're more interested in working with adults, you can sort of tailor your program to either one of those. And then, of course, our minor, which provides you a nice foundation in HDFS, but then also allows you 9 hours of electives. I'm also the coordinator for the minor. And so you can sort of take some more child-focused courses or more family-focused courses to sort of tailor that to your interests as well. So we'll start with child life. So some of you may be familiar with child life, and some of you may not have heard of what child life is. And so this is really a program that prepares professionals to work with children and their families in healthcare settings. This could be in high stress settings such as the emergency room, oncology floors, children's hospitals, but it also prepares not only for you to help the child understand the procedure, but also to help the parents and siblings understand what's happening to their loved one. It's a very competitive major. So it does require a 3.0 GPA. It requires you to make a B or higher in all of their major courses, and there is an application process to get in. And so it is important that you and the courses are offered in a certain sequence. Ms. Harris is nodding, so I'm saying that right. And so in order to prepare you to apply for your practicum and then your internship experience, most internship experiences, we do recommend that you search out of state because there's limited internships availability in Greenville itself. But if you cast a wider net, chances are better for you to get those internships. They are also very competitive because you're competing nationally, but our students do have success. Tiana is a child life student, and she's one of our high flyers, and we're very proud of her. And she can talk a little bit about her practicum that she did this past summer. Do you want to talk about that real quickly?
Sure, I can talk about it briefly. So, with Child Life, you have to do a practicum, a Child Life practicum, a Child Life internship, as well as an early Child Life internship. So for my practicum, I decided to go through a program called Connect 123, where I stayed in Cape Town, South Africa for 1 month. So the benefit of that was, it's very diverse. I still got my hours, I guess. It was in a shorter amount of time than other people, so it was a little more work. But it did cost some money to do that. But if you don't want to take that route and go out of the country, you just probably most likely have to go out of state, of course, because like she was saying, it's not a lot of options here in Greenville or North Carolina, honestly. So you just have to be open to traveling to get that practicum and internship.
So if you're an adventurer, this might be a good opportunity for you, a program for you, and you're interested in working with children and families in some of those high stress situations. We do this program can be very stressful because you are dealing with some very heavy topics. Most of the time, people think about working with children and it's a lot of the positives, and this is a program where you might be having to help parents cope with the death of a child, help siblings cope with the death of a sibling, and really face some really hard, stressful components in life. So it will be important for Child Life students that them themselves are prepared mentally and emotionally for the challenges of this program, not only academically, but also for that social emotional component. There is a lot of positives in Child Life Specialists because a lot of our students that come to our program actually receive services from a Child Life Specialist as a child. And so we've heard those stories over the years of the reason while they're in Child Life was because they overcame childhood cancer, or the Child Life Specialist really made a difference in their lives. So they are certified. You do sit for certification, and that certification is national. So you can translate that to any state in the country. But even internationally, there's needs for Child Life Specialists everywhere. Dr. Desai, who is our program coordinator, still to this day volunteers her time to the Operation Smile to help children that are receiving cleft palate operations in different countries. So there's lots of opportunities for you to use these skills in lots of different settings. All right, so at ECU, the program requirements are there's 120 hours. Of course, this is true for all programs. There's 40 hours of general education. Child Life core classes are 80 hours. Minor is not required. However, sometimes if you're strategic or if you're really interested in a minor, that may be an option. Ms. Harris, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sorry about that. So most students, I'll be honest, don't usually do a minor just because you do have a lot to do in Child Life as is with practicums and everything, but you can choose one if you like. Something that we do suggest or something that you can do is a certificate. We have a maternal and child health care certificate that's only 12 credit hours, and that could easily fit in with this major, and it would work really well with it because it's only 4 classes instead of 6. And a lot of the classes are offered over the summer. So the maternal and child health care certificate would be something that would be great to go along with this. But again, most students don't usually do a minor, but you can if you like.
Yep. And the other thing that sometimes students do is they double major with family community services because there's a lot of overlap with courses. And then that way, if for whatever reason you've determined Child Life may not be the right fit for you long-term in your profession, or you struggle finding a practicum or internship, you can easily finish out with a family community services degree and still graduate in a timely manner.
Yes. We have
But
several
if
students that do that.
Yeah, but if you haven't heard of Child Life before and you're interested in learning more, you can always visit the childlife.org website to learn more about this as a profession and a career. But like we said, this is highly competitive. So if you're interested in this, get ready to work. All right, so here's some of the courses that you are taking: the individuals, families, and romantic relationships. That's a course that's required for all of our majors. It's sort of the foundation course. Child development 1 or 2, another 2 courses that we require across all of our majors. But some specific courses for Child Life is the death, dying, and bereavement class. Dr. Lukoval teaches this class, and she's always very excited about taking her students on field trips to the graveyard and the funeral home and things like that. And because you may not have any experience with that, and it's important, and parents may seek your input or advice for those types of things. And then of course, on the other side of that, because you are helping normalize this experience for children, you do need to know what children are typically doing if they weren't in a medical setting. So you're going to take infant and toddler curriculum, have opportunity to complete your practicum at our Child Development Center on campus. So you get some hands-on experience with children, play in the lives of children. So you get to explore all different types of play. Family and cultural diversity in the hospitalized child, where you have the opportunity to observe for a short period of time the child life specialist in a hospital. Do we have any questions about child? Oh, here we go, where our graduates work. So of course, there's general pediatric inpatient units, specialty areas, and like emergency departments, surgical ICUs, preparing children for surgery, and then outpatient areas. And then additional settings. Sometimes students do an alternative setting. This is a picture of actually Dr. Desai. She's right in the front there at Camp Whole Heart, which is an opportunity for Child Life students to volunteer at. And then there's the Child Life Student Association as well, that she conducts every fall to work with children that have had major heart surgery or have heart needs. You can also complete community outreach programs, private medical and dental programs, special needs camps, and then also hospice services. I think that's the last slide for this one. Yes. Do I have any questions about Child Life before we move on? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to our next degree, which is Family Community Services. This is actually the undergraduate degree that Miss Harris and I both graduated with. And so we think it's pretty awesome. But so we'll talk a little bit about this degree. This is one of those degrees though, when people are like, well, what are you going to do with that? And the answer is lots of different things. And so if you're one of those people that are open to opportunities, trying different things, being kind of open to lots of different ways you can help children and families, this might be a good fit for you. If you like of a more prescribed path, then it maybe not, but it's still a pretty excellent program. You do have a lot of skill sets that can translate to lots of different areas that serve children and families. So this is some of the questions. Do you want a rewarding career in which you'll make a difference in the lives of people of all ages and their families? Do you have a passion for volunteering and community service? So for me, I knew I wanted to help people, but I didn't know how I wanted to help people, but I knew I didn't want to go to social work. So these were sort of the things that were kind of going around in my head. And I was really fortunate to be able to find this program because it was really all the things I was interested in and wanted to learn about, and it gave me lots of options. It's also an excellent undergraduate program to prepare you for graduate school. So if you think long-term, that may be something you are considering. It's an excellent foundation for graduate school because it does provide a strong foundation in research, theory, and practice. And then it really prepares students to work with students across the lifespan. So if you're really someone that want to work with children, but you don't necessarily want to be a teacher, this might be a good fit for you. Or you're someone that really likes to help adults, even maybe aging adults. We do have a population of aging adults now that we're going to need more and more people to be caretakers and assist families to find resources. And so it really is a great program at any point in time in history, really, to help children and families. So that's sort of my spiel on that one. There's two concentrations, like I mentioned earlier. There's the family science concentration. And the other fun aspect of this is it does prepare students to have your certified family life education certification.
With
Certified
this specific concentration.
with the family science concentration. So you can apply for that through the National Council of Family Relations. Our faculty has an excellent reputation at NCFR. We're very popular there because they like to dress up as pirates. And so they get lots of interested people talking to them about our programs here at ECU. We've been certified through NCFR for over 20 years. So we have a long history with this program being one of the top in the nation. You are prepared to work with agencies and organizations. So if you're kind of like, well, Miss Berry, you're not doing a very good job, I don't know what I'm gonna do. You could really literally work anywhere.
We have a lot about that on some other slides too. All about it.
We have more slides. Okay. I've looked at it once. Here we go. We're gonna talk about this. And we're also talking about where you can work. It does require a 2.5 GPA, 120 hours, course 40 hours general education. So this is sort of the breaking down for the family and community services core classes. Once again, you see the individual families and romantic relationships, child development 1 and 2, and then intro to family community services, which is the course that really explains all the aspects of what you could potentially do. And then we have a sister course or brother course or whatever, companion course 3560, where you really can look and explore all the different career options for that. I don't know why I landed on that. It's Tuesday. It's good. Anyway, so then there's of course 35 hours of the concentration in family sciences. You do get to take intro to gerontology. That was one of my highlights when I was in school. We got to go to an assisted living facility, and I still remember like working with students doing this with members, because that helps with dexterity. So, you know, all these years later, still remembering tidbits from what I've learned from these classes. Trends and issues, family studies, trends and issues in family studies, which really helps you dive deep into some of the more pressing topics of the day. And then some other courses that are really good is family law. A lot of students are interested in that. And then there's also a sexuality course. So this program does lend itself to a minor or structured electives. And then I think here's some family science careers. And so sort of depending on what you might want to do, you can sort of pair your minor with that. So if you think, I might want to be a counselor one day, I might want to go to be a therapist, like a psychology might be a nice minor for you. That's a nice pairing with this. So some careers associated with family science is, of course, a certified family life educator. You can go into teaching, research scholarship if you think one day you want to be a professor at a university, program or curriculum development, and then of course administration. There's lots of programs and agencies that need strong leaders that understand what family community services is. So leadership and management, and then of course advocacy such as public policy and lobbying for system change and awareness. All right. Any questions about that? Or Ms. Harris, do you want to add anything that I might have missed?
Yes, just one thing about the minors and electives area. I think someone may have asked a question about med school. We do have lots of students that can do like occupational therapy prereqs or pre-professional. We have a pre-professional advising center where you can meet some of those prereqs for grad school while completing your undergraduate degree. So undergraduate courses that are required for grad school. So if you're interested in occupational therapy, physical therapy, any of those type of pre-med, we have lots of students that do that while they're completing their undergraduate degree in family community services, child development, or family science concentration. that 17 hours of electives, that's where you can fit those courses in. So those courses are for your undergraduate degree, but they'll also fulfill your pre-professional requirements as well. So this major is good if you want to do a medical field later on, working with children such as pediatrics or things of that sort.
So you would recommend, the question was about pediatrics in med school. So
Mhm.
you would recommend this degree with the child development concentration versus
Yes.
child life, correct?
Yes, I was going to say a lot of students think that child life is the way to go when they're trying to get into med school. That is not what you should do. It's just only because it's a lot. Like you already have to take for like the pre-med, a lot of sciences and a lot of things to fit in. So trying to fit in all those courses along with doing child life and doing practicums and competing for that, it's a lot. If you want to
And another thing is the Child Life program is preparing you to be a professional with a certain skill set. It is not preparing you to go to medical school.
Right.
Whereas a family community services program, where because it is broad and is laying a broader foundation, have the opportunity to add those electives, it is laying the foundation for you to later go to medical school.
Yes, because once you're working with children and you're doing practicums and you're working in those classroom settings, you're getting that foundation for working with children, which is what you'll need when you go out into the medical field. You need to understand how children are typically developing and understand how they play and things like that. And so that's what this degree in family community services will give you, that background. And again, you can take those pre-med courses to push you further and to get your master's and going on to a doctorate from there.
And I can attest to the fact that having child development background would be useful. At our Child Development Center on campus, our Brody School of Medicine med students do a rotate, come through and observe at our center, and they have the ages and stages little check sheet, and they walk into our infant classroom and they have to guess the children's ages, and they ask the questions off the sheet, and they are sometimes really off because what a sheet says isn't necessarily what how each individual child develops. And so they ask questions of the teacher, and the teacher like, yep, they can do this. No, they can't do that. And they really try to stay within these stages. And sometimes they get close, but a lot of times they're either way under or way over. So it's a really great eye-opening experience for those students. And just think, if you wanted to be a pediatrician, how much further along you'd be in sort of those aspects if you had that child development background. So that's a great segue into our child development concentration. And this really is focused more on the study of young children. It prepares students to work, professionals to work in childcare, preschools, direct services, and case management. The GPA is still at 2.5. There are practicum courses. And like I said, we do have the on-site Nancy Darden Child Development Center where you can do your internship there. We actually have 2 FCS child development interns at the center this semester. One was hired already as our assistant teacher in our toddler classroom because she was pretty phenomenal. And the other one will probably apply for a position in our 4-year-old classroom when that position is available soon. So we were super pleased with both of those to have that experience. But also maybe you're interested in administration, like a child, you may want to open your own childcare center one day. And so this concentration allows you to do that as well. If you are thinking about opening your childcare center one day, the electives, you would really want to think about some business administration courses, because while the child development and the curriculum piece is important, I've just sort of finished an interim co-director at our center and business classes for budgeting and personnel, and those are going to become really in handy as you're operating a center as well.
Can I interject real quick, Susanna?
Absolutely.
So in addition to that, in addition to a business minor, if you didn't want to do a business minor, we also have what's called an entrepreneurship certificate. And again, I try to steer students towards that because it's 12 credit hours. You learn about entrepreneurship essentials, money management, finance, and a marketing course. Or really important things that you're going to need if you want to open your own childcare center. So the entrepreneurship certificate, 12 credit hours, they can fit into those 17 hours that you need there for the minor, and then you'll have 12 hours done. You can take a couple other classes that may be fun. So the entrepreneurship certificate goes really well with our child development concentration if you want to open a center or do any kind of management after you graduate.
This is why Miss Harris is the most excellent advisor. So y'all are kind of fortunate to have her here tonight. It's pretty awesome. So once again, you get a lot of hands-on experience working in that child development concentration. You do take some of the same classes that our birth through kindergarten teacher students take. So if you finish with family communities, because you think, oh, I'm not going to be a teacher. And then you get out there in the field for a little while and you be like, oh, I think I do want to be a teacher. You do already have some of the coursework towards those licensure requirements. Any questions about family and community services? All right, so here's of course some careers that we sort of talked about. So sort of course the advocacy aspect, which is also very always important, but you can be an early childhood consultant, program director, foster care and adoption services, youth development, of course, education, and then even health, a patient advocate or case worker or wellness educator. There's lots. Anywhere there's children, there's probably room for a professional that understands child development. Okay, so here's some, of course, some job settings. These are really broad, high level areas, but we've had successful internships across this entire spectrum. So there's really, if you can, even if we have not had an internship established before, we can work with you if you have an agency that might be a good fit. You can, of course, seek that out as well.
I have a student this semester that is getting ready to do his internship in the fall, and he has a really cool internship. He was doing military classes here at ECU and ROTC. He's in family community services. His internship is going to be at a fire station because he wants to be a firefighter once he graduates, which is really
awesome.
Cool. So I thought that's the first time we've had someone to do that. And they said, as long as there's a community aspect with it, which at the firehouse that he's looking into in Raleigh does have a community aspect to go along with it. So if you're interested in doing something like that, that's something else that you could do with family community services. Very broad, but can really focus on certain things. But also keep in mind, however, that some of these jobs that you're looking at do require higher degrees. So if you're interested, like say for instance, in counseling, like marriage and family therapy or anything in that sort, family community services, great foundation. I have several students that go on to do master's degrees in other areas such as counseling and things like that.
Okay, I was checking the chat again. No questions yet. All right, so the BS in birth through kindergarten teacher education. This is my program. This is preparing you to be a licensed North Carolina teacher. You, with the BK degree, you are licensed to teach in exceptional children's classroom pre-K, NC pre-K, which is North Carolina's public preschool program, and kindergarten settings. NC pre-K is housed both in public schools and in private childcare settings. So it's we support students and all the variety of those settings. This GPA is required 2.7, which is a requirement of all educator prep programs at ECU, as well as passing the Praxis core, and you apply to upper division your junior year. There is a teaching internship, which is your last full year. Our internships run fall to spring, and this program is offered on campus and online. And so if you've got some college credit already, you can transfer in to this program, and you can complete this entirely online and complete your internship in your home county where you are. Let's see here. Oh, there wasn't a lot of slides for BK like the other two. Any questions about birth through kindergarten? Once again, it does require practicums. Of course, the Nancy Darden Child Development Center is an option for practicum. We also encourage students to complete practicums in the public school setting, since you will be licensed to teach in a public school. Right, our other educator prep program is the Family and Consumer Science Teacher Education Program. And so there is a big need in North Carolina, and lots of job opportunities with the FACS program. So if you've ever took a child development class in high school or teaching class, not teaching class, a foods class, I don't know what I said. Foods class, design, yes. All of these are taught by Family and Consumer Sciences teachers. This does require to pass the praxis and apply for upper division, but you are licensed in the state of North Carolina for middle and high school grades. If you want to learn more about Family Consumer Sciences, you can go to AAFCS.org. But you take a variety of courses with this. You take child development courses, you take family as consumer classes, you take a nutrition course, you take a merchandising class, you take a hospitality management class, I believe, as well. So you take a variety of classes to sort of get all the skill, all the content areas in family and consumer sciences. So it's exciting if you like a variety, and that might be something for you as well. Any questions about our educator prep programs? All right, let's talk about this minor in HDFS. So it's a good fit with many majors. I actually, since I am the coordinator for the minor, I actually talk with a lot of students. I've got them some from nursing, some from psychology. I've had speech language pathology, a lot of different majors, minor with HDFS. It is 21 hours. It's not the highest amount for the minors, but it's not the lowest amount. It's very easy to work in a schedule because we do have a lot of online offerings. So it's easy to sort of complete some coursework over the summer. If your major itself is sort of heavy, or has a strict sequence of courses. Then of course we start with 1103, which is I want to call it the old name.
I know, individuals, families, and romantic relationships.
Thank you. Yeah, it used to be called family and
Marriage and family
relations.
relations.
Yeah, and it'll be much easier, but this is the much more comprehensive title.
Yeah.
So that's our minor. And like I said, I would work with you if you were interested in that. And that is the end of the presentation. So I want to pause. No, let's see. I want to stop share. There it is. Okay. Any other questions?
So feel free to unmute yourself. You guys have seen it's pretty laid back and informal. So feel free to unmute yourself, turn on your camera, whatever you're most comfortable with, put them in the chat. While we're waiting on questions, Tiana, do you want to tell them a little bit about like why you chose ECU, how you got to your major, and then just a little bit about what you're involved here on campus with?
Sure. So I guess starting with why I chose ECU. For one, I wanted to stay, I don't know if you're like me, but I wanted to stay in state. I didn't want to go too far, but I wanted to have a good enough distance from my family. So I looked at ECU and a few other schools, but one thing I really liked about ECU is just how diverse it was. I wanted to go to a school that represented like the real world and had all different cultures and not too much of one and things like that. So ECU was perfect for that. My brother came here, so I saw how it looked like on a normal school day, and I wanted to be part of it. What else did you ask me?
So correct me if I'm wrong, you went to a science-heavy high school, correct?
Yes. So I went to, it's called City of Medicine Academy. There we wore scrubs. We learned a lot about different medical professions and things like that. I had never heard of child life when I was there actually. So I came here wanting to be a nurse is what I thought, but I did not want to do that. And then I've always known I was passionate about children. So I think I did like BK for a little bit just because I knew I just wanted to be with children. So I did that, and then I was talking, and then with Brandy, of course, I switched over to child life. It's a good fit for if you want to, I wanted to be in the medical field, but I didn't really want to see blood every day or do things like that. And I still wanted to be able to help children and their families. So if you feel like that, it's kind of like an in-between of still being in the hospital and then still working heavy with children and not just so focused on the medical aspect, but the emotional part of it and things like that, and making sure they understand what's happening to them, advocating for them, supporting them, and not just so focused on the medicines they're getting or what surgeries they're going to be having. Here on campus, I'm involved in, we have a Child Life Student Association, so I'm a member of that. If you're interested in child life, you should join when you get here. Follow us on Instagram too, because it's a good way to network and learn about child life and learn about the different journeys of everyone, because everybody is different. Like some people do alternate internships. It's a journey.
It's
That's
a
all I
lot.
can say. It's a lot. So being able to find that connection with other people that are going through the same thing makes you feel better about where you're at. And then also I'm an HHP ambassador. So we do a lot of networking with prospective students as well as alumni. It's definitely a good opportunity for you to like build leadership skills, as well as just learning more about your program and being able to relate that to other people and, you know, be an advocate for your own department.
You work on campus, right?
Yeah, I do. I work on campus. ECU has great on-campus jobs, actually, but I work at Brody School of Medicine as an event assistant. So we just set up for events and things like that. But it's a great opportunity because it's very flexible. I can do my, you know, homework on the clock and still do my job and things like that. They're very flexible with you still being a student and having other responsibilities. Yeah.
So you guys probably also heard, I'm surprised there weren't any pictures in that presentation, but we have it's called the Nancy Darden Child Development Center. And basically it's a full-fledged like daycare on campus. It's actually right outside my window. So I get to hear them playing in the afternoon, like there's a playground and everything. That's an opportunity for you guys to work at as well. They're always looking for students to work at. It's great hands-on experience. There's also like observation booths and stuff in that area. It's really cool to see because you can watch how children play and interact, but then also, you know, maybe work in there, get shadow hours, whatever it may be.
So our Child Development Center is a 5-star center licensed in North Carolina, which is the highest rating you can have in North Carolina. And it's also accredited by the National Association for the Education of Young Children, which is, yeah, it is. We call it NACY for short, but you wouldn't know what it meant otherwise. We just got our reaccreditation re-upped for our next 5-year cycle. And we've maintained our our accreditation since 1996. So we've had a long standing with that. We have the infant classroom, toddler, preschool 3 and preschool 4 classroom. And we hire a lot of our graduates. Ms. Harris actually was an intern, right? No,
Yes,
intern.
I was a work study student first. I was then an intern. I worked there for 7 years in the preschool classroom as an assistant, and then I was the toddler teacher, and both of my children went there. So I love that center, like almost as much as life itself. I really do. It's a special place. It holds a special place in my heart, just because my experiences there, what I've learned from this center, the people that I met, the connections that I made, and then having both of my children go to that center and just seeing the difference. Like my daughter went there for just a short period while I was doing my internship, and then my son went there from 0 to 5. And so just seeing the difference in their education from one center to the next really made me really appreciate the education that he got there. The modeling that the teachers do, the way that they interact with the children as well as the students is just super important, because in that center, it's a model center for all other centers. You want other teachers to come and to see how your center is working, because the things that we do, the learning through play, it works. And we're showing other teachers and other potential childcare workers and child life specialists and OT, all these different people, how wonderful our center is and what it offers. And so it is a very integral part of our college. And if you do come to ECU and if you are in one of our majors, you'll get a chance to either observe in there or work hands-on. So it's a really special place, and it's something to brag about.
Yeah, and it collaborates with lots of different programs. So I mentioned Brody comes in and does observation. Music therapy comes in and does rotation with the children. Speech language pathologists students have come in. OT students have come in and practiced with students. We've had foreign language interns before. So lots of opportunities to engage with the Child Development Center. Absolutely. We had one question in the chat. Ms. Harris answered. Anything? Oh, I was going to talk a little bit about Tiana mentioned not only was she was in the Child Life Student Association, but an HHP ambassador, and then the ability to work on campus. So lots of opportunities for student engagement, but just a high level brag about HHP is one, Tiana was one of our initial ambassadors. She was our first of our inaugural group.
Yeah.
So we're super impressed with her. But really our ambassadors have made a difference going to nights like these, really speaking to students about their experiences. And so if you're one of those people that like to talk to others, that might be a good opportunity for you. But also kind of changing directions a little bit, because that study abroad is also, you have lots of opportunities to study abroad if you think one day you may want to. Every single one of our departments, all 6 units in our college, offers a study abroad experience. So really, if you can think it, it's probably out there. ECU also has an ECU Tuscany experience. So if you want to do a semester in Italy, that's an option for you. It's pretty cool. You can do, especially if you time it right, you can get your general education done in this beautiful little village. Like it's like ECU, that we have like our own special like housing for the students there. It's pretty amazing. I'm on the Global Affairs Committee, so I hear about how great it is all the time. And I'm like, I want to go to there and do that a little bit. But there are, but maybe you don't want to be away for a semester, but there are a lot of summer opportunities to study abroad as well. So if that's something you're interested in, ECU can offer that. And I can see you thinking.
And if you are an out-of-state student, you only pay the cost of in-state tuition. So it's like a set price and you are able to go study abroad and it's the same amount of tuition dollars. So
and
you can lock out a lot.
And in addition to that, you get 6 credits going towards your degree. And you're only there for 10 days in the summer.
And
6 credits for 10 days.
Yes.
Awesome. And you're getting an awesome experience. So it's just awesome all the way around.
Yeah, it is.
All right. So have we bragged on all the things we needed to brag on?
I think so. Oh, we forgot alumni. We have an extensive alumni network. Miss Berry was stating that, the BK profession and family and consumer sciences education, that is a need across the board of North Carolina, and our alumni are pretty well known, and they are constantly sending jobs and like, hey, please send us interns and whatever it may be. So we've got really good relationships with a lot of host sites, which are also intern alumni a good part of the time. So there's a phrase around here, pirates helping pirates, and that is extremely true in this department as well. So
student orgs, that's the one thing I had on top of my head. So not only is the Child Life Student Association, there's the Early Childhood Student Organization that's open to any of the majors in HDFS. There are a lot of BK students, but we have just as many FCS child development students, and Child Life students, of course, are welcome, but they're often busy with their the other one. And then also the other family community services one is the CFR group. They're trying to get that back going. COVID really hit our student orgs kind of hard when everybody was kind of gone. So that one is getting going again. So we do have those opportunities as well in the department to be engaged with some student organizations.
And those student organizations get you exposure. You get to, again, be with other students, but you get to go out into the community and do community work. So you're volunteering and all kind of things you can put on your resume, number one, but you also get really good experiences just personally. So definitely join student organizations, because once you get to ECU, you're trying to find that community and that family. And so being a part of organizations helps you to do that. So you get to be with other students that are in your majors, so you can talk with them and meet with them. But it's really good to be a part of those organizations because it helps you to find that sense of community and family here.
So what other questions do we have?
Ask us anything, we're here to
Yeah.
help.
Not all of them, but some of you guys might know what you're interested in, and some are just like, all these options, I gotta figure out which one's for me. I'm gonna, in the chat, I'm gonna put our Instagram handles. March is actually Child Life Month, so we're gonna be doing a lot of fun social media stuff for that. Kind of showing where students and alumni are working, and their perspective even after coming to ECU, or how ECU impacted their career. So we're super excited about that. But there's a third one that I'm gonna put in there, and Tiana helps run it. It's a student-run ambassador account. So we have 10 student ambassadors from our college, not just HDFS, but college-wide. And so if you have questions about where to eat on campus, where you want to live, you know, parking, whatever it may be, they got you. They got you. Just send them a message. You can ask them all the things about just being an ECU student. So listen that. But if you guys don't have any other questions, we're, I think, good to go for the night. We'll probably stay on for a couple extra minutes if you have any questions that you want to ask one-on-one. Tomorrow morning, you guys will be receiving an email with some just follow-up information. A couple of deadlines really quick before I forget. So if you are a incoming freshman for fall 2023, please make sure you have your deposit to ECU by May 1st. If you get it in before May 1st, you are able to start registering for your classes April 24th at 1 p.m. And so Ms. Harris would be your advisor. And so if you have deposited and you have signed up for summer orientation through PIER, it's PIER, it will allow you to start registering for classes. If you are a transfer student, your application deadline to start in the summer, should you wish, is April 24th. If you want to start in the fall, your application deadline to apply to ECU is July 3rd.
My birthday.
Yeah, and so I think that's it. Those are all your deadlines, and all that will be in an email tomorrow morning as well. You'll have our contact information, and then have access to us if you have any questions. So if you guys don't have anything else, I think we're good for the evening. So thank you all for joining us. Go
Thanks.
Pirates.